A total collapse of everything Travis Clark built has officially begun because the Bates family decided to remove him from their inner circle for good. While the public only sees the silence on social media, the bank records confirm that every joint venture and real estate holding he claimed to own was liquidated overnight, leaving his portfolio in a state of absolute ruin. Travis Clark believed his position was secure and his financial future was written in stone, but the receipts show a much darker reality for a man who tried to play a powerful family for his own gain. Internal revenue streams and dissolved joint ventures prove that Travis is currently facing a total career meltdown, and the forensic breakdown of his accounts reveals that he is now professionally insolvent. This was never just a simple family split, but rather a total liquidation of a man who thought he was untouchable and above the rules. The contract proves that Travis never actually owned the assets he bragged about in his videos, and it turns out he was just a guest in a house he could never afford to buy on his own. Now the doors are locked and the accounts are frozen, and the financial reality of his fracture is much worse than anyone imagined for him. Because he was merely a passenger on a ship he never actually helped build, the moment he was tossed overboard resulted in him sinking much faster than anyone in the industry expected. Forensic audits of his digital revenue streams show a massive 80% drop in monthly income, which means the lifestyle he displays to his followers is now a complete fabrication. The truth is that Travis had no value without the family backing him up, and once that support was removed, his entire economic structure came crashing down like a house of cards. Within 48 hours of the family fracture, a home renovation partnership valued at $500,000 vanished, and that specific deal represented the last shred of leverage he had left in the industry. The documents show that Travis was relying on the Bates name to secure massive brand deals that have now evaporated into thin air, leaving him with nothing but mounting debt and broken promises. Auditors found a pattern of reckless spending and zero long-term planning because he assumed the money would never stop flowing as long as he was attached to the family brand. He was wrong about his influence, and he was wrong about his security, and now he is paying the price for that arrogance with every dollar he has left. The Bates family legal team worked in the shadows for months to ensure that Travis would walk away with nothing, and they audited every single project he was involved in to find the evidence they needed to cut him out. Evidence from the internal investigation proves that Travis was trying to siphon off equity into his own private accounts without the family knowing, but the auditors were already 3 steps ahead of his plan. Every single dollar has been tracked, and every single contract has been picked apart, and the result is a total professional wipeout that he will never be able to explain away. He is no longer the rising star he claimed to be in his vlogs, and instead, he has become a cautionary tale of what happens when you try to outsmart people who have more power and more resources than you. While the first half of this crisis focused on his public image and the rumors of a split, the real damage happened behind closed doors in the boardroom where his fate was sealed. Travis lost control of his primary income sources in a matter of days, and that included his YouTube ad revenue split being terminated and his clothing line partnership being dissolved. These were not suggestions or minor setbacks, but rather legal certainties backed by hard evidence that he no longer had any claim to the Bates empire. The truth is that Travis is broke, and his career is over because he tried to maintain a front of success while his bank accounts were being drained by legal fees and lost opportunities. The Bates family has moved on and left him in the dust of his own making, and the war behind the scenes was even more brutal than the public realized at the time. While Travis was posting happy photos to keep up appearances, the legal letters were already arriving at his door and demanding a full accounting of his actions. The truth is that the Bates family had been planning this move for months because they saw the signs of his manipulation and acted with clinical precision to protect their legacy. Emails show that Travis was desperate to negotiate a settlement that would keep his equity intact, and he even begged for a seat at the table during the final meetings. But the answer from the family was a cold and final no. The receipts prove that he was eventually offered a tiny fraction of what he thought he was owed, and he had no choice but to sign the papers and walk away into the shadows. If he had tried to fight the decision in court, the family would have released even more damaging evidence that could have resulted in criminal charges or even deeper financial ruin. Travis was backed into a corner by his own greed, and he had to surrender everything he had built over the last few years just to avoid a total public shaming. The forensic audit of his dissolved joint ventures shows a loss of millions in potential future earnings, which is a staggering price to pay for a short-term ego trip that backfired. He traded his long-term security for a moment of perceived power, and now he is paying the ultimate price as his name becomes synonymous with failure in the world of reality television. Witness statements from former business partners paint a picture of a man who was difficult to work with and obsessed with his own image at the expense of the actual business. They were happy to see him go, and they have no intention of ever working with him again, which means his professional network has completely collapsed. The truth is that no one in the industry wants to touch him now because he is seen as a liability and a fraud who cannot be trusted with significant investments. Brand backlash has been swift and unforgiving for Travis, and companies that once lined up to work with him are now scrubbing his name and face from their websites to avoid any association with his downfall. He is a ghost in the very industry he tried to dominate, and the evidence of his defeat is everywhere you look if you know how to read the signs. His social media engagement has plummeted, and his influence is non-existent because the audience can sense that the authenticity he once preached was a lie. He is trying to pivot to a new career or a new niche, but the foundation is gone and you cannot build a new empire on a graveyard of broken contracts and legal settlements. Travis Clark is learning the hard way that the Bates family has completely erased him from their professional history, as if he never existed in their world. They have successfully redirected all of the equity he once held back into the family trust, and this was a masterclass in asset protection that Travis never saw coming. They used his presence to build the brand when it was convenient, and then they discarded him with surgical accuracy when he became a threat to their stability. The truth is that Travis was never the hero of this story, but rather the villain who got caught trying to take more than he was ever entitled to have. His deceit has been exposed and his bank account is empty, and the receipts are public for anyone who cares to look at the math behind his failure. He is currently living on credit and borrowed time while facing a mountain of legal fees that show no sign of stopping anytime soon. The fallout from this split will follow him for the rest of his life and ensure that he never secures the same level of funding or support in any future venture. The industry has a long memory for people like Travis, and he is now a marked man who will never be allowed back into the inner circle of power. The legal battle is over, but the financial suffering is just beginning for him, and he is even facing a series of audits from the Internal Revenue Service because of the way he handled those joint ventures. The truth is finally out, and it is devastating for anyone who believed in the image he tried to project to the world. Travis Clark is a man with no future and a very dark past that has finally caught up to him in the most public way possible. He thought he could manipulate his way to the top of the mountain, but he ended up at the very bottom with nothing to show for his efforts. The cost of his lies has been his entire professional life, and he is the sole architect of his own destruction with no one to blame but himself. The Bates family is moving forward with more strength and unity than ever before, proving that they were always the ones in control of the narrative and the money. Travis is just a footnote in their success story, and it is a footnote that has been permanently deleted from the official record. The receipts show that his total asset forfeiture was the only way for the family to find peace and protect what they had spent decades building. They had to cut out the problem to save the business, and Travis was the problem that needed to be removed with extreme prejudice. The truth is that he was never truly one of them, but rather an outsider who tried to steal a piece of the pie and ended up with nothing but crumbs and regret. The financial breakdown of his insolvency is the final nail in the coffin for his career, and his name is now synonymous with betrayal and professional failure. The world now knows the reality of Travis Clark's hidden equity loss, and the fact is that it was never a loss at all, but a repossession of assets that never belonged to him. The Bates family took back what was always theirs and left Travis standing in the cold with nothing but the clothes on his back and a mountain of debt he can never pay off. This is the ultimate price of trying to play a family that knows how to protect its equity and its reputation from people like him. You will lose every single time when you go up against a machine that is built on decades of loyalty and legal protection. Receipts do not lie, and neither does the math that shows his account sitting at zero after years of pretending to be a millionaire. Travis Clark is officially a zero in the world of high-stakes finance, and his career is nothing more than a memory that people will use as a warning. Don't try to steal what you didn't earn, and never try to be a hero when your actions prove that you are the villain of the piece. Most importantly, never cross a family that has the resources to erase you from existence with the stroke of a pen. Travis Clark learned these lessons far too late to save himself, and now he is paying for them with everything he owns and everything he hoped to become. The truth is out and the story is over because Travis Clark has been liquidated by the very people he thought he could control. He is a man with no cards left to play, and the final line of his career has been written in red ink that he will never be able to wash away. He is the man who had everything and threw it all away for a lie, and the cost of that deception was his entire world. Now he is a ghost in the industry and a stranger to the family that once embraced him, proving that he never belonged in that house to begin with. The receipts show the truth, and the truth is final, which means Travis Clark is finished and his professional insolvency is absolute. He will never recover from this catastrophic defeat because he is a cautionary tale for the ages that everyone will remember. Bates' family split was not a tragedy for everyone involved, but rather a victory for the truth and a total defeat for a man who lost it all because he could not stop lying to everyone around him.